All right, welcome to the ninth episode of Clinical AI Academy Journal Club. Today we are joined by Abdullah Hamdan to discuss his poster titled Benchmarking OpenAI Reasoning Model for Clinically Significant Drug-Drug Interactions, DDIs. A brief introduction to what we do here at the Clinical AI Academy. We aim to build AI literacy in healthcare by providing high-quality, open-source, educational, transdisciplinary content focused on artificial intelligence, neuroscience, medicine, psychology, philosophy, linguistics, and more. We invite you, all of you, to join our open discussions, shared exploration, and reflective practice. Thank you so much for joining us, and a very warm welcome to you, Abdullah. Please go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, share your screen, and start your talk. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed Nazal, for providing a voice for our research to be presenting in your journal club. I really admire what you are doing. It's really that significant. And again, I think in like a way, in improving AI literacy for healthcare practitioners is really something amazing, especially at this era, because most doctors and most healthcare practitioners, I have seen this at the clinic and during clinical practice, they do not know how to effectively using ChatGPT and these AI models. So again, I think clinical AI, what is really doing is really amazing in our field. My name is Abdullah Hamdan. I'm a medical doctor, and I will be presenting our research, our latest research about evaluating how AI models can accurately identify drug-to-drug interactions and provide valuable insights for clinicians. So yeah,
Yes.
so it's a brief introduction about me. My name again is Abdullah Hamdan. I am a medical doctor. I have graduated from the University of Jordan, and I'm also a founder of Curans.org. And Curans, sorry for spamming about my platform, Ahmed, but as a founder, we
No,
would
no
love
problem.
really
We'd love to
we
hear
would
about it.
really love to any free ad promotions to our platform. So in Curans, what we are doing is we aim to reduce diagnostic errors by providing a virtual patient simulation for medical doctors and medical students, by providing a way for them to interact with these virtual patients or these training cases from A to Z, from the patient complaint till the patient discharge. Think of it as just like pilots who are using simulators to practice flying. We are teaching medical students the same way for this virtual patient simulation. During building Curans, we have really running it on low budget. So this makes me, as a founder, done everything else to really to scale our business. So I self-taught myself how to code by myself, how to program using PHP, Laravel, API, and everything that you can imagine. I have also fine-tuned our AI models for our platform and developed these AI models. So again, spamming about my solution and my platform. So if you want to learn more about our solution, please go ahead. I hope Dr. Ahmed Azal won't hate me for this, but founders really love any
Not
free
at all. We're
promotion.
going to show it at the end if you would love, but we can show it at the end also. Right.
Yeah.
L-
So let's jump into the research that we are discussing in here. The reason that why we are highlighting this drug-to-drug interactions because we have a very increasing prevalence of these interactions through our population. In Jordan, it's shockingly, according to the literature, that 96% of Jordanian population had at least one potential drug-to-drug interactions. And again, the results are really reflecting across all the MENA regions, and it's not only Jordan. For example, in a hospitalized study, you have a risk of 50% to have one drug-to-drug interactions event. Again, I think this is really an interesting problem that medical research has not specifically explored widely. And on personal opinion, I don't think that there is really a movement to decrease these prevalences of these drug-to-drug interactions. According to our observation, I'm sorry, I don't know, yeah. According to our observation, we believe that these drug-to-drug interactions are increasing in prevalence because of two main reasons. One of them is that fragmented healthcare systems and the fragmented clinics that we have. Like for example, let's take for example a diabetic patients where we have diabetic who was diagnosed 5 years ago and it's now currently revisiting clinics in cardiology, nephrology, and endocrinology. these old clinics will be prescribing drugs for this patient specifically, but without coordinating between them. This will lead to polypharmacy, and again, polypharmacy increase the risk for having a drug-to-drug interactions. That's the reason that why we having a lot of these occurrences of drug-to-drug interactions, and that reflects how important the multidisciplinary clinics are in the practice. Like where you have one clinic and everything is coordinating between them, and everything is really running smooth and the flow. I think the drug-to-drug interactions will really decrease a lot. I have seen this not only in Jordan but also in Italy. I don't know about how other healthcare systems function or works different countries, but based on my observation, I have seen this from in Jordan and in Italy. So I think this is a very common problem that we do not have or a well matured multidisciplinary clinics concept in our region. And again, unfortunately, in Jordan, electronic health records are not yet well developed in Jordan.
Okay.
Some of the amazing facts that we have already
So you
discussed.
just mentioned that this high prevalence, which is 96% of Jordanian, this is your finding, or this is already reported in the literature.
It's already reported in the literature, yeah.
Okay, all right. And
And
then
it's really
the
reflected across different countries in our MENA region, like in Kuwait, Egypt, and
mm.
Saudi Arabia and Iraq. It's really devastating how these are actually the case in our region.
All right. So if you so we can go through the slides together. So the first one is like the bars. What does the bar tell? Also, just like statistics from the
It's
literature.
statistics, yeah, for
All
statistics
right.
from different countries, like
Okay.
in
Okay.
Iraq,
So
it
Jordan
has,
is leading in this.
yeah, Jordan is leading.
All right.
Yeah, unfortunately, of course, yeah.
Okay.
But I hope things are really
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
getting evolving in Jordan and finding a solution to this problem.
Okay.
And Saudi Arabia, it's actually really high, like 90%.
Mm.
In Egypt, surprisingly, it has a 50% prevalence.
Interesting.
But
Interesting.
again, I
This is
think this literature is not really
exactly. So you have
really
different
reflected.
input and reporting, and so maybe like Jordan is really have high detecting abilities or structures that are doing well. So,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because I think really in the literature, it does not really give you the full image. It just shows you a superficial points where
right.
you can detect the insights
I
from it.
just looked it up and it seems like international prevalence of potential drug-drug interaction varies from 1.5% to over 90% across studies. So that
Uh,
tells you a lot about the quality of the reporting, I guess. So please, yeah, let's next move to the next.
Again, what we have highlighted in here that for diabetic patients, the average clinics that they are revisiting is three clinics.
All right.
Again, he must revisit clinics for nephrology, for cardiology, whatever the complications that he was
Mm-hmm.
having. And all of these clinics are eventually prescribing him a lot of drugs. And more drugs means more interactions with these
Okay.
drugs without coordinating between
So
these
that's when
doctors
you
and
mentioned polypharma, it means like many medications. So the more you have, reasonably, you will end up having some
yeah.
interactions. Okay.
And that reflects why important is to have a multidisciplinary clinics where you can discuss all the
All right.
complications with coordinating between different specialties and different doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we speak about why in Jordan we have a lot of, specifically in Jordan, why we have a lot of drug-to-drug interactions, because unfortunately electronic health records are not yet well developed in Jordan. Because electronic health records in other countries or in well-developed countries, while you're adding a drug, it can shows you an error message that it's had already contraindicated with other drugs that they were taking. So it means basically that you cannot actually add the drug. But in electronic health records, this error message does not show up or does not pop up. And it's not only about this error message, it is like for like more of the physicians in the practice, they're prescribing brand names rather than generic names. So
Mm-hmm.
that makes something really complicated further. And again, we have not seen a really a well initiative to implant or to embed this AI into these electronic health records. And by the way, when we mean electronic health records, it's basically mean a storage that we can keep all the patient data into it. And again, it depends on the physician's styling note or noting style. Like for example, if one physician would prescribed drugs, he might not store it in the structured data. He might noting it in a section or in free note section. And these systems cannot detect the drugs that they were prescribed in this noting section. It requires a lot of structured data, but however, this is not the case for our electronic health records. So our aim in our study was to effectively evaluate how large language models like LLMs or OpenAI, Gemini, or DeepSeek can identify these drug-to-drug interactions and how they can offer valuable insights to clinicians. And this is where our research boundaries ends. Then we have another startup idea that comes from it, like what if AI can detect these drug-to-drug interactions and AI can takes the lead point from there, like can call the patients on their registered phone numbers and arrange appointments for them to discuss their drug-to-drug interactions. And we have done this, and I have shared a video where this comes true, and really people actually gaining we have really valuable in some clients that want really to deploy this into their solutions. Like AI can call their patients and reflect the and call the patients and reflect these appointments that they were taking at and the patient's convenience and reflect it on the system is really that amazing, because in order for you to call these patients individually, it requires a lot of efforts and requires a lot of time that we do not have in healthcare practice. So why we test AI specifically, not the traditional detection systems? Because we know that we have a lot of other companies that provide the traditional drug-to-drug interactions detection systems. This is simply because AI generally thinks beyond its boundaries, like can see this brand names and can it know what is the generic names behind it. This is something that the traditional detection system cannot detect it, and it mainly depends on that traditional detection systems really requires a lot of structured data, which basically we do not have in our case, because again, and our electronic health records is really fragmented. It's unstructured. Drug medications can be found in the drug section and in the noting section and everything else. And more importantly and more interestingly, that AI can provide an individualized recommendation for each patient, taking into consideration all his medications, all his lab results, and everything else. That's why we test AI specifically. In the methodology section that we have followed in our study, we have collected 40 case reports from medical index journals where they were reporting a drug-to-drug interactions cases. These drugs were classified as D or X by Luxemab. To assess also things further and to assess the model accuracy and sensitivity and specificity, we have gathered 40 additional cases where patients are taking a drug that they were not interacting. So we have 40 cases with drugs that they were interacting. We have 40 other cases where drugs that they were not interacting with each other. After that, we have followed a very amazing point. Yeah, I think Ahmed, if you want to comment on something.
If you tell us a little bit more on LexiComp and what does D and X mean?
Yeah, Lexicomp is is a software provider which can basically provides you an insights about all the drugs that is you will see in your clinic and you will see it during your practice. It has a drug-to-drug interaction tool. It's provided. I think it's a paid one. It's not a free one, but it's the most accurate software provided for drug-to-drug
Okay,
interaction.
okay. So you use that software to collect your data, kind of, or to analyze.
Yeah, and to verify that these additional 40 cases where they have supposed they were not interacting, they were not really interacting according to Leximap.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we make this data as are de-identified because again, what we was really feeding into these AI models was really was accurate data and authentic data, and we would not want the AI to reach these original case reports or these published online thing and whatsoever. So we have distorting the ages for this for these patients, and we have make some medical informations are hidden just in order to restrict the AI access to these data and to these published case reports. And we have also prepared two versions of our inbot or our data, one with generic names of these drugs and one with the brand names. We have converted them with very Jordanian local brand names. Like for paracetamol, we converted the Banda, and like it's a very traditional Jordanian brand names for these drugs. So we have two versions. The total was 80 drugs. 40 drugs were interacting and 40 drugs were not interacting. Two versions, one version with generic names and one version with specific drug names. And again, all these patients' profile were distorted and were hidden to make AI does not really access these original published case reports. Some people might ask, like, what you have really done is not really that significant because I can do it just by giving us your data, and I will provide it with ChatGPT, and voila, your results will be available to me. I would say that ChatGPT or OpenAI does not really operate like in this way because OpenAI gives you two different access methods. One for users, for direct users, like for example, when you are opening the ChatGPT on your browser, on your mobile, and whatsoever, you are actually having an access to the most capable, updated ChatGPT models. But however, for ChatGPT, when giving an access for other platforms and for other players or for other corporates, they provide it as a way as API. It's not really what you are using in the ChatGPT. No, it's another model which is distributed to other companies. It's known as API. I will keep things simple in here, but you must know that OpenAI is providing other way for these platforms to access its model by an API. It's not the same as what you are getting through the simple ChatGPT interface. And but because electronic health records system integrate OpenAI through these APIs, these were what we tested in our research.
An API, I looked it up also. It's called an application programming interface, which allows software to talk to software. So if you have a website, then this calls ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT responds back through the website itself, just as an addition clarification.
Yeah. And that's the reason, and that's what we have evaluated because it's not the same as what ChatGPT gives you when you are accessing it directly through your browser or through your website or whatsoever. And the accuracy of these AI models was surprisingly high. I was really surprised that there are some variations, but they were really high percentage or and really highly accurate models in detecting these AIs, either by detecting the brand names or detecting the generic names. It's worth mentioning that OpenAI was the most accurate, but it was not the fastest. The fastest was Gemini, which is provided by Google, and Gemini, the model that we have used in here, was Gemini 2.5. And the Grok was really the slowest one, but it was really the second accurate model. I think Grok really has a way for improvement. And not surprising for me at all that DeepSeek has really the most hallucination rates recorded by it.
So just what we're looking at is first graph on the left side with the bars is the accuracy, but then we have like a circular graph. What does that say? This is also the
Like this is the branded names, like how
accuracy
AI,
also.
yeah, of how accurate AI models can detect the brand names direct to drug
Okay, so
interaction.
this decreases the accuracy to almost like 25%.
Yeah,
For all those
because
models, like the brand, they basically can't deal with branded
yeah,
drug-drug interaction, right?
yeah,
This is
definitely.
this.
But maybe the reason that it's declined its accurate results, its accuracy, is because we have provided a very specific regional brand names.
Okay.
They were translated to Jordanian. Maybe if we have like transcribed this generic names into United States brand names, I think the results would be higher.
So this
But
is
for Jordanian,
detecting localized, branded, Jordanian branded kind of drug-drug interactions. So the ones that are used by clinicians in Jordan, those models can deal with basically, right?
Yeah.
And this is an
But the most
interesting.
accurate,
Mhm.
but the most accurate was Gemini, which is was provided by Google, and
For the
it's really
branded
sad for
names.
me that yeah, for branded names, and it's really sad for me that I see OpenAI become the has the least accurate results in branded drug-to-drug interactions.
Okay. So you mentioned hallucination and speed. We did not see that in the graph.
Yeah, the fastest AI models was recorded by Gemini. The
But you
second
don't
was
show this right now, right?
no, I don't
Okay,
show
okay,
this.
okay. Okay, I thought,
Yeah,
okay.
and the second was OpenAI,
So
and
the
the
most
third
hallucination was DeepSeek. The
DeepSeek, yeah.
fastest was uh,
Gemini,
Gemini. Okay,
and the slowest was Grok 4,
okay. I mean, you
which is
don't.
operated by X.
Okay, okay. I guess the most important one is hallucination and accuracy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
But again, once like the hallucination rate was really modest, like it's 5% only from DeepSeek. It's not really that big,
But OpenAI,
comparing to its accurate to
what,
how accurately
what
identified.
was the model with the least hallucination?
It was OpenAI.
OpenAI. So if you had like the most accurate least hallucination is OpenAI
Yes,
for
for
the generic.
generic names, yeah. For
Okay.
branded names, no,
So the
it
best
was
in your
Gemini.
opinion so far for drug-drug interaction based on your 80 cases was OpenAI
Yeah.
model, which is O3 or O5, I guess, from you.
Yeah, I will provide you with that
Mhm.
just in the coming slides. Like, again, when you are implanting AI into your electronic health records, it's really important to know how much it will it cost and how much does it really be cost-effective solution for your patients, for the healthcare system, and for everything else. We have taken an example, an OpenAI pricing model, which was $1 and 25% for an input of 1 million token. But the pricing model for each AI, it does not really simply reflects on how much you are giving it to an input. It's also a variety of factors like the output, like how much time does it take, how much resources does it take to reach the answer, and the output that they are giving you, that they are providing you with at eventually. What we have done in our also in our these data, that we have in our brand names, we have made some of these are really expensive brand names, and there is other alternatives, cheaper brand names, and has the same effectiveness as these expensive brand names. Why we done that? Like sorting some of the brand names and providing an expensive brand names is basically just to detect how can really it detects these expensive drug names and provide an alternative or cheaper alternatives for these drugs and whilst remains effective. And again, OpenAI was the most capable models in giving us an insights of these drugs and provide a shaper alternatives and similar effectiveness drugs by 40%. These OpenAI models, the O3 and ChatGPT 5, was the only models that were capable in providing a meaningful, significant alternatives. Others, they provide just a way, like a generalized information and not really specific. And again, you can see the cost increase. We have found that Grok 4 was the most expensive AI model to deploy. The second would be O3, and the third, ChatGPT 5. The fourth in its ranking, the least expensive was DeepSeek, and the fourth was Gemini. And what we are really done, again, in our research, we have tested a lot of different aspects of AI models. Like remembering when we said that we have gathered 40 cases where drugs that they were not interacting with each other. So we have included some cases that they were included some drugs that they were not interacting, but they were allergic to the patients, and this was documented to their patient's profile. Yeah, so they were not interacting, but they were allergic to these patients, and
So the
we give
patient
them
was
just
allergic to the medication, but was prescribed this medication.
yeah, but they were not interacting anyway.
Not interacting with other drugs, but interacting with the patient himself.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But when we actually giving a prompt to these AI models, we give them a straightforward prompt. You only have to identify these drug-to-drug interactions and provide a shaper alternatives if you with a similar effectiveness if you have found some shaper alternatives for these patients. However, these only allergic drugs that they were to this patient were only identified by DeepSeek and Gemini AI, and that's maybe provide an insight of why DeepSeek was recording more hallucination rates like 5%. I think when you are thinking beyond your prompts, I think more errors can happen. But others that they were strictly following their prompts was OpenAI and the Grok 4. I don't know if this was really a good thing or a bad thing, but I think like providing an insight is very useful using these DeepSeek and Gemini AI, like generating hypotheses or making AI thinking beyond its capabilities and beyond what they are instructed. I think DeepSeek and Gemini AI is showing promising in this field. Again, these drugs that were not interacting with each other, but they were allergic to this patient profile, and how AI can know it's allergic. We provide also we when we are giving them the inputs, we provide them with the patient profiles and the
History.
medication note and history for this patient. What was really interesting to me that O3, which was released earlier in this year, is not just faster than ChatGPT 5, which was released 2 months ago, but also was more accurate and has less errors. I don't know if this was unintentionally done on purpose from OpenAI or not, but I think this is really a downgrading thing for OpenAI. I don't know again why this result is actually happening in our study, but the difference was there, and we have repeated our running systems just to verify these points. And again, unfortunately, these points were correct, and the differences was really clear between ChatGPT o3 and ChatGPT 5. Again, I don't really know if this was intentionally on purpose or from OpenAI, but I think OpenAI should correct its future model just to not lose the accuracy of the earlier AI models that they were released on. So conclusions. In my conclusions, I have left this slide intentionally on purpose. It's blank because everyone can conclude its own ideas from the results that I have shared. But in my personal opinion, I think that drug interactions are a very common problem, and a lot of efforts should be directed towards solving this thing. In my personal opinion, I believe that AI in the future can prescribe medication for his patients really more accurate than us because he can ingest a lot of data like patient records, like medical notes, like medical labs and whatsoever, more faster than us and more accurate sometimes maybe. So I think our future would be rather than prescribing directly to patients would be supervising the recommendation or the outputs for the drugs that these AIs can prescribe. And in all honesty, and will be fully transparent, I think this is only the new beginning. For example, in 5 to 10 years, I think we can see a lot of improvements in AI models.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your attention. Please, if anyone has reached this moment, please take a moment to complete the feedback form. And I would love to connect with you. This is my email. If you have any question, I will happy to answer. And I will promise you that this feedback form would take you more than 1 minute to complete, and it really means a lot to me.
All
So
right.
thank
You,
you so
you
much
could
for your
keep it.
attention.
You could keep it if you want
Yeah, I would
while
love that.
we're having the discussion.
Yeah,
First of all, thank you for the effort, for joining us, for
yeah,
telling
thank
us
you so
about
much for
this
having me.
research. And it's really exciting to see that you are trying to like benefit from AI capabilities in a localized manner, improving the healthcare section that you're working at. I would like to point that this research is still at a very preliminary level. It's not published anywhere. It's not peer
Yeah, yeah,
reviewed. It's your experience, and I'm happy that you're sharing that with me. It was presented as a poster, I guess, somewhere when I approached you. I'm very happy to see these preliminary results, and I think this could be refined and you could build on, and then it will be hopefully published somewhere at one
yeah, I
point.
hope so.
So I had some questions. You already answered one of the questions I had, which was around why is it so prevalent in such in Jordan specifically, that drug-drug interaction, and but we noticed that this is highly variable across studies. And so I had another question for the benchmarking, the differences. So you showed that those models are different in accuracy, speed, hallucination. So if you're a clinician in the ER, or how would you advise the clinicians working with those tools? Should they work with those tools?
I think whatever the model that you were using, I think it will be still accurate. Like, again, the accuracy rate was really not low, it was really high by all the models. It does not depend on what the models that you are using, but I really encourage you to use any of them. It can provide you an insight that you are not able to see at ER or at anywhere else. I think they can provide you with an insight that you cannot superficially detect or whatsoever. I think they can access to latest research within a matter of seconds. So when providing an insights for doctors, I believe that providing insights come from electronic health records where directly you can store your patient's information onto it. So
Good.
when you are storing your patient's information, I hope in near future that pop-up or AI recommendation or suggestions can just shows and provide you an insight of this patient specifically and what are the things that you should
So
consider in his
so basically you
condition.
encourage clinicians to benefit from them while hopefully keeping in mind that they hallucinate a little bit. So just be careful until they become much better. But it's, as you mentioned, it is just a start, right? And then things
Yeah.
will definitely.
It's the beginning of the AI. It's not really, we have not
And one thing we keep
really
like
reached the
forgetting is
full
that
edge of the AI.
it keeps getting better, right? So
Yes,
that we
definitely.
should keep in mind. This is also will improve. All right. So yeah, that was brilliant. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for joining us. You could show us your platform if you want. Again,
No, no, it's
or
totally fine. I have stopped spamming. I have spammed a lot
all right.
of our
No,
stations.
I think this is also a great idea. Like you're trying to use AI to kind of create a personalized way for medical education. Definitely, I definitely wish you the best of luck. And
Thank you so much.
hopefully, we'll see more amazing stuff coming from Jordan and young Jordanian talented physicians. So, thank you so much
So
for
thank you so
joining
much
me.
for having me. It's
All right.
really a pleasure of mine. Thank you so much.